Hello, my amazing artist, and welcome back to Art While Apart with me, Miss H. This week, we are going to be studying how to create Japanese Notans. So, before we begin, Japanese Notans use positive and negative space to create some very interesting illusions. A notan is a Japanese design concept involving the play of light and dark elements as they are placed next to each other in a composition. So if we look at this symbol here, known as the yin and yang symbol, we can see how the dark elements are placed next to the light elements. And you can tell that they are kind of opposite, but work together to create this composition or picture. The Japanese culture believes that this use of notans and this design concept will achieve harmony, balance, and beauty in an artwork. In this example of a notan, the image is using positive and negative space. So if you look closely, you can tell that there was this yellow-orange paper used, and then there was also this purplish color used. Okay, now I want you to think, is the yellow color the positive space, or is the purple color the positive space? So think back to what we learned a few weeks ago about positive and negative space, and let's talk about it. So the yellow paper is actually the positive space because it's the foreground. It was actually originally a square piece of paper, follow my mouse here, that was then drawn on, see my mouse, and then that was cut. So we cut that piece out, flipped it, and put it up here. So it's kind of like a puzzle piece that's been cut apart, flipped, and arranged differently. So the yellow is the piece that's on top. That is the positive space in the foreground. And that would mean that the purple paper is the negative space because it's the background. I didn't actually go and draw a purple little shape, like kind of looks like a D, this shape here. I didn't draw a purple shape and glue it on top. No, it's the background that's showing through. Both the positive space and the negative space are really important to make this artwork balanced and harmonious. Well, speaking of balance, let's talk about what that means in art. Balance is a principle of design, and all it means is the satisfying arrangement of the elements of art. So where are the lines put? Where are the shapes put? Where are the colors? This arrangement can create balance. So let's look at some examples. There can be symmetrical balance. This is when both sides of an object are exactly the same, and there's a line of symmetry. Let me move over. Okay, so looking at this image here, I can see the line of symmetry, which is the line going right down this image, and the left side looks exactly the same as the right side. So that means there is a symmetrical balance. There can also be an asymmetrical balance. Now, you've probably heard the word asynchronous. Well, asynchronous means that you do not do it together at one time. So that letter A makes it mean not that. So if it is asymmetrical, it means that it is not symmetrical, but there is still balance. So each half is different, but there's this equal visual weight, and that makes the artwork balanced. Let's look at an example. Okay, now comparing this tree to this tree. If I split it down the middle, each side is different, but there's still some balance. This part gets bigger over here, and then it's balanced by this part of the tree being big. If this is smaller over here, it's balanced by this part being smaller over here. So there's this equal weight being shown in this piece of art. Okay, well, let's look at how notans can have balance. Here's one notan. Now, look at that. and then compare it to this notan. Okay, I want you to think, does the first notan have symmetrical balance or does it have asymmetrical balance? If you said symmetrical balance, you're totally right. Because if I put a line right down the middle, what is on the left will look the same as on the right. Okay, then compare it to the second notan. Does this have symmetrical balance or asymmetrical balance? If you said asymmetrical balance, you are right. If I divide this down the middle, it's not going to look the same on both sides, but there is still an equal weight on each side, which means it is asymmetrically balanced. Alrighty, friends. Now today we are going to learn how to create some notans. Notans can get really complicated, kind of like this example here, but they can also be a little more simple, like this example. We're going to start a little pretty simple, you'll see in my video, and that's just because it's our first week and I want to practice. If you want to push yourself to make yours a little more challenging, maybe like this first one, you absolutely can. All right, friends, go ahead and click on to the next slide so that you can learn how to create your very own Japanese notan. Have fun, be creative, and take chances.